In the shadowy world of special operations, legends are forged in the crucible of impossible odds. This is the story of one such legend, a Navy SEAL sniper known only by her calcine. Spectre, she was a ghost on the battlefield, a whisper in the wind, but on one fateful mission. Her legend nearly came to a fiery end. The mission was deep in enemy territory, a high-stakes intelligence grab. Spectre was providing overwatch for a team of 4 Army Rangers tasked with infiltrating a heavily fortified compound. Everything was going according to plan. The Rangers moved like shadows, guided by Spectre's precise call-outs from her hidden perch a kilometer away. They were in, they had the package, and they were on their way out. Then, all hell broke loose. An unseen patrol stumbled upon their exfiltration route. The night erupted in a storm of gunfire and explosions. From her scope, Spectre watched in horror as the Rangers were pinned down, one by one getting hit. The enemy was closing in, a relentless tide of chaos. Spectre's rifle sang, each shot a testament to her skill, dropping targets with cold precision. But there were too many. Over the coms, the Ranger team leader's voice was strained. "We're taking heavy fire. 2 men down. We're compromised." The situation was deteriorating fast. A rocket-propelled grenade slammed into the building near the Rangers' position, showering them with debris. The line went silent. Then a voice crackled through, not from the Rangers, but from command. "Spectre, the Ranger team is non-responsive," presumed Kia. "The mission is scrubbed." I repeat, the mission is scrubbed. "Disengage and evacuate immediately." "Negative, command," Spectre replied, her voice ice cold. "I still have eyes on the target area. I'm not leaving them." Command's response was sharp. "It's an order, Spectre. You're outnumbered and outgunned. Can't afford to lose you too. You're gone." The comms clicked off, leaving Spectre in a deafening silence, broken only by the distant gunfire. Abandoned. The protocol was clear: cut losses, preserve assets, and she was an asset. But the men on the ground were more than just assets. They were brothers in arms. A fire ignited in Spectre's chest, hotter than any muzzle flash. Protocol be damned. She packed her sniper rifle, grabbed her secondary weapon, and began to move. She wasn't an Overwatch anymore. She was the cavalry. For the next hour, she became the enemy's worst nightmare. Moving through the darkness like a phantom, she dismantled their patrols, sowing confusion and fear. She used the terrain to her advantage, striking and vanishing before they could even pinpoint her location. She was no longer just a sniper. She was a one-woman army. Finally, she reached the building where the Rangers had made their last stand. The air was thick with the smell of cordite and dust. Inside, she found them. All 4 Rangers were alive, but just barely. 2 were unconscious, and the other 2 were badly wounded, fighting to stay awake. They looked at her like they were seeing a ghost. "Thought you were a sniper," one of them rasped, a weak smile on his face. "Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty," Spectre replied, already applying tourniquets with practiced efficiency. The building wouldn't hold for long. The enemy was regrouping, their numbers swelling. Getting out was impossible. Getting them all out was a suicide mission. Spectre looked at the 4 wounded soldiers, their lives hanging by a thread. She looked at the single egress route, swarming with enemy forces. And she made a decision. She wasn't going around them. She was going through them. What happened next would be whispered about in barracks and briefing rooms for years to come. Spectre, a figure of slight build, did the impossible. She hoisted one of the unconscious Rangers onto her shoulders. She then helped the 2 conscious but wounded Rangers to their feet, having them support each other. The last Ranger, the most critically injured. She rigged into a makeshift harness she created from webbing and straps, dragging him behind her. She was a single, moving fortress of pure will, carrying 4 grown men. She burst out of the building's back entrance, a terrifying vision of defiance. The enemy, expecting a cornered rat, was met with a roaring lioness. She laid down a wall of suppressive fire, moving with a strength that seemed inhuman. The 2 Rangers who could still fight, inspired by her sheer audacity, fired their weapons. Providing what little cover they could, it was a slow, grueling fighting retreat. Every step was a battle. Every meter gained was paid for in blood, sweat, and spent cartridges. For what felt like an eternity, she pushed forward, her muscles screaming, her lungs on fire. She was running on pure adrenaline and an unbreakable promise to leave no one behind. Just as her strength began to fail, just as the enemy was about to overwhelm them, the sky was torn apart by the roar of helicopter gunships. A rescue force, scrambled by a guilt-ridden commander who had listened to Spectre's Open Comes channel broadcast her entire one-woman rescue operation, had arrived. The gunships unleashed a torrent of fire, scattering the enemy forces. Ropes dropped from the belly of a Black Hawk, and tactical teams rappelled down to secure the area. When the medics reached Spectre, she finally allowed herself to collapse. She had carried the 4 Rangers over a kilometer through an active war zone. They found her surrounded by the evidence of her incredible feat, still shielding the men she refused to leave behind. Back at base, the story spread like wildfire. The brass tried to keep it under wraps, but you can't contain a legend. Official report was heavily redacted, but the truth was known by those who mattered. When the commander who had ordered her to retreat came to see her in the medical bay, he didn't say a word. He simply placed his own Distinguished Service Medal on her bedside table and walked away. Spectre recovered, and so did all 4 Rangers. They owed her their lives, a debt they knew they could never truly repay. She didn't want medals or recognition. She was Spectre, the ghost. She returned to the shadows, to her sniper's perch, her legend now permanently etched into the heart of the Special Operations community. A reminder that heroes are not defined by the orders they follow, but by the choices they make when everything is on the line. They thought she was dead. They abandoned her. But she emerged from the flames, carrying the very men they had written off. That's the story of Spectre. Thank you for watching. If you were moved by this story of incredible courage, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales of unsung heroes. See you in the next one.